moving through.
Hmm.
Yeah, what does that look like? Because I know you've experienced a lot in your life, and you share that in your memoir in places
Hmm.
and in other ways and other times you've spoken. So, what does that look like when you're trying to help someone with that?
Yeah, I think part of it is going first. And I'm sure that when you're speaking, you're doing the same thing. You're sharing your story so that someone feels safe and secure enough to share their own and creating the kind of safe environment where they can. I often will tell audiences that an untold story will never heal. You have to get it out. You have to tell someone. And it's better if you tell it to a safe person. So then I have to kind of back up a little bit and teach about what is a safe person. And
Mhm.
because I definitely have told my story to unsafe people, and that was a bit disastrous. So when I'm teaching on healing, that's kind of the first thing that I talk about. In terms of the surrendering aspect, one of the things that I do with audiences, and I'm going to actually be doing it next week to an audience, is teaching them how to lament and taking them through a lament psalm. And how do you name, like you mentioned, name that joy stealer or name that grief? And how do you tell God that grief? And how do you wrestle through it? And how do you come through on the other end, praising Him, even though it's still a situation that's ongoing? And so I walk them through that process, and it has been a really beautiful thing to watch people be set free. And I think a lot of times we just stuff our grief and our pain, and this is a really lovely tool to learn how to surrender it.
Hmm. Yeah, that is so true. Stuffing grief and pain. So, is this something you do in person at various times throughout the year? Do you have any resources on your site that help with that?
Yeah, these were in person at my church, and so
Mhm.
that is really lovely to be able to have a place to teach. Again, that we found a new church, so that's the end of that story. So
Uh-huh.
that's lovely. But I also will teach that around the nation, around the world, in different ways when people come and ask me to speak. So in fact, I'm teaching soon in Philadelphia, and then I'm on my way to Malawi in Central Africa in a couple weeks to be talking about trauma and healing. So I'm doing it all over the place.